Good morning, all of you. Is it audible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
So in the previous class, we have started DSM, right? DSM we have started, and then we have started some algorithms which we will implement for DSM. Okay. So the mapping manager will be there, which plays a major role for mapping the memories between the shared and distributed memories for each processor. So these are the advantages we have discussed, and the algorithms they have to take care of how to keep track of the location first thing, and how to minimize the communication overhead, and how to access concurrently remote data which is available at several nodes. So these all details the algorithm has to implement. So in that we have discussed, I think, some 3 to 4 algorithms. I think first algorithm we discussed is central server algorithm. So it will maintain all the shared data. Here we can perform read and write operations. If it is read, it will be returning the data item. If it is write, it will update the data and it will return the acknowledgement message. And for implementation purpose, the timeout will be there. Whenever some acknowledgement is being failed, so timeouts will be happening. And here timeouts, each operation will be performed by using the sequence numbers. And if an application request for accessing the shared data is failing repeatedly, so then the failure condition will be sent to the application. And issues here is performance and the reliability we will be facing. So that we can handle by using partitioning the shared data between several servers, and by using a mapping function for distribution of data. Then the next algorithm is migration algorithm. So here we will ship the entire data object. So what is the date, what is the block of the data? So all that data object we will ship uh, to the requesting location, whatever the location has been requested for the data. So we will ship it as the entire data object, and it will allow only one node for accessing the shared data at a time. And the advantage is it will have locality of reference, and DSM it can also be integrated with VM. And we will make DSM, which is multiple of VM page size, and locally held shared memory it can map for VM page address space. And if the page is not local, then fault handlers will be used for migrating the page, and we will remove it from address space at remotely. And how to look in order to locate the remote data object, we will use location server, and hints will be maintained at each node, and then we can broadcast the query. And issues here we will face is only one node can access data object, and thrashing can occur. So in order to minimize it, we will set the minimum time the data objects will be residing at each node. Next algorithm is read replication algorithm. So it will replicate the data objects to the multiple nodes. And DSM, it will keep track of locations of data objects, and it will be having multiple readers and one writer. Okay, if we are having multiple nodes, we will have in that one writer and others can be at the reader. And after write is performed, all copies will be invalidated or updated. Okay, so we have some implementations of DSM which will keep track of all locations of copies of data objects. So examples are IV implementation and plus. If it is IV implementation, then owner node of data objects will be knowing all the nodes that are having the copies. And if it is plus, then there will be distributed linked list which will be tracking all the nodes that are having the copies. Advantage is that the read replication, it can lead to substantial performance improvements if the ratio of reads to writes is large. Okay, then that is the advantage. Then the next algorithm is full replication algorithm. So it is the extension of read replication algorithm. Here we can have multiple readers and multiple writers. So issue here is consistency of data for multiple writers, because multiple nodes can write now. So the consistency has to be taken care. So for that the solution is gap-free sequencer. So all the writes, whenever write operation has to be happen, it will be sent to the sequencer, and sequencer will assign the sequence number, and it will send a write request to all the sites that are having the copies. and each node will perform the write operation according to the sequence number. And if there is a gap in the sequence number, it will be indicating that there is a write request has been missed, and then retransmission of the data will be happening. And here we need to maintain the memory coherence, because whenever there is a shade, okay, sharing is happening, then the coherence issues will be there. So consistency issues. So for that we will be performing memory coherence. So DSM is based on replicated shared data objects. So concurrent access of data objects will be happening at many nodes. So coherent memory has to be there. So when value returned by read operation is the expected value. That is, whenever the recent write is happening, so it has to be written by the read operation. So mechanism here is we have to perform the synchronization, and here we need to take care of different kinds of consistencies. First one is sequential consistency. So system will be sequentially consistent if the result of any execution of operations of all processors is the same, if they are executed in sequential order, and the operations of each processor appears in this sequence in the order by its program, then we call it a sequential consistent. Coming to the general consistency, all copies of memory location eventually will contain same data when all writes issued by every processor have completed. Then coming to the processor consistency, operations issued by processor are performed in the order they are issued, and operations issued by several processes may not be performed in the same order. So if it is by the same processor, then it will be in the order. If it is by the different processor, then it need not to be followed the same order. That is processor consistency. Then coming to the weak consistency. So memory will be consistent only after synchronization operation. So regular data access, it can be performed only when the previous synchronization access or operations have been completed, then only data access can happen. Then release consistency. So it is further relaxation of weak consistency. So synchronized operation must be consistent with each other only between the processor, and the synchronized operations such as acquire and release. So if we are following a sequence, first we will acquire that particular node or data object, then we will access it, or some operation we will perform, something we will do, and then we will release that. Then we have coherence protocols. So how do we can ensure that all replicas are having same information, and how do we ensure that nodes do not access the stale data? Okay, that is stale data means the old data. So for that purpose, we will have coherence protocols. First protocol is write invalidate protocol. So a write to shared data, it will invalidate all copies except one before write is executed. So already we have discussed in Messiah also, right? We have taken two processors and we have taken the example. Here also, if we have some n nodes, what we will do? Okay, all we will invalidate. Okay, and only one will be validated for performing the write. Then invalidated copies are no longer accessible. Advantage is that good performance we will get if there are many updates between the reads, and we can have per node locality of reference here. Disadvantage is that invalidation sent to all nodes that have copies will be, and it is inefficient if there is many nodes which are accessing the same objects. Because we are sending invalidation for all the nodes which are having copies. Okay, so that is the another disadvantage. And examples, the most DSM systems that are Ivy, Clouds, Dash, Memnet, Mermaid, and Marriage all will be following this protocol for coherence. Then next protocol is write update protocol. So write to shared data will cause all the copies to be updated, and it is difficult to implement compared to the write invalidate protocol. And the design issues we will be facing here is granularity. We have to take care for DSM. So size of shared memory unit. Okay, that is the granularity. If DSM page size is multiple of local virtual memory page size, then DSM can be integrated with VM. Okay. So advantage and disadvantages, because the page size, it can be either large or small size. So if we are using large page size, the advantage is we can exploit locality of reference and there will be less overhead in page transport. And disadvantage of having large page sizes, there will be more contention per page. And if we are using small page size, what is the advantages? Contention will be less and false sharing also will be less. Disadvantages, there will be more page traffic. Examples, we can take plus, okay, and clouds and Muni. If we take plus, the page size is 4 kilobytes and unit of memory access will be 32-bit word. And clouds and Muni, the object we are taking, it is unit of shared data structure. Then the next design issue we have to consider is page replacement. So we can use the replacement algorithms just as how we use for computer architecture course if you have studied, you might be knowing. So that is the least recently used this is an example or some other replacement algorithms also you can use. So here for different modes will be available. Okay, shared, private, read only and writable. So if LRU is with a private access node, so private pages to be replaced before the shared ones, and private pages will be swapped to this. And then shared pages, they will sent over network to the owner, and read-only pages, they can be discarded. Only the owners will be having copy here. Okay, so these are the design issues: granularity and page replacement. And coherence protocols is write invalidate and write update protocol. And DSM implementation algorithms are central server algorithm, migration algorithm. Central server is, so there will be a central server which is taking care of all the process, and read and write request we can send. And migration is we will ship an entire data object at once. And read replication algorithm. So here how the replication is happening, there will be multiple readers and one writer. And in full replication, we will have multiple readers and multiple writers. And because we have distributed and then shared memory, so memory coherence issues will be coming. So further, we have to consider the sequential consistency, general consistency, processor and weak consistency, then release consistency. So these are all memory coherence issues. And then protocols for coherence, we have write invalidate and write update. And design issues we will face is granularity, page replacement. And now we will see some case studies of DSM. First case study is IV. So IV is integrated shared virtual memory at edge. And it is implemented in Apollo domain environment, that is Apollo workstations on a token. So granularity it will have is 1 kilobyte page, and the process address space, it is combination of private space and shared VM space. So here private spaces, it will be local to the process, and shared space, it can be accessed by any process through the shared part of its address space. And here we have node mapping manager. Node mapping manager, it will be performing the mapping between the local memory of the node and the shared virtual memory space. And memory access operation can be happen here, will be happening here. Whenever page faults are happening, then we will block the process. And if page is local, then we will fetch from secondary memory. And if the page is not local, then we will request the remote memory access in order to acquire the page. And page will be available to all the processes at the. Then the coherence protocol it will be using is here page access modes, it will be only read only, write and nil. So these access modes are used for this coherence protocol. And we will be using multiple readers and single writer semantics, and write invalidation protocol, and it will follow strict consistency. And if you see the write sequence here, if we have some processor I, okay, if it is sending a write fault to page P, and processor I finds the owner of page P and sends request to the owner. and we have the owner of P, which will send the page and its copy set also to the I, and it will mark P entry in its page table as nil. So here the copy set is nothing but the list of all the processors which are containing the read-only copy of the page. And then processor I sends invalidation messages to all the processors in copy set. So basically, whenever a fault is happening, so that particular processor, it will send to the owner who is having the data, and that owner has to send the copy set. Copy set is in the sense which are all the processors are having the read-only copy of that page, and then the processor which wants to access that particular data, it has to send the invalidation messages to all those processors. Then the read sequence, how it works is that processor I will have read fault to page P, and then processor I, it will find owner of page P, and owner of P, it will send copy of page I and adds I to copy set of P, because now I is also having the copy of that particular data. So now processor I has read only access to. So these are about the write sequence, read sequence, how it's happening, and the algorithms that are used for implementing read and write actions. Okay, centralized manager scheme we will use. So central manager, it will be residing on single processor. It will maintain all data ownership. Whenever page fault is happening, processor I, it will request copy of the page from central manager, and central manager, it will send request to the page owner. And if the write is requested, then it will update the owner information to indicate that I is the new owner, because now he has having the access to that. Then owner sends copy of the page to processor I. If write, also sends copy set of the message. If it is read, it will add I to the copy set of the page. And once write is happened, the central manager, it will send invalidation messages to all the processors in the copy set. And here performance issues we have to face is that two messages required for locating the page owner. First one, and whenever write is happening, invalidation messages has to be sent to all the processors in the copy set. So the centralized manager will become the bottleneck here. So algorithms used for read and write actions, we can have fixed distributed manager scheme. So he will distribute the central manager role to every processor in the system, and every processor keeps track of the owners of a predetermined set of pages. And whenever processor falls on page, then that particular processor, it will contact the processor for the copy of the page, because based on the mapping function, we know who is the owner previously. So the rest, the protocol will be the same as the one with centralized managers. And note is that in both the centralized and fixed distributed manager schemes, if there are two or more concurrent accesses for the same page is happening, so then the request will be serialized by the manager. And if we are using dynamic distributed manager scheme for read and write, so every host will keep track of the ownership of the pages, and every page table will have a field called probe owner. And initially the probe owner will be a default processor, and the field is modified as pages are requested from various processors. So when processor is having page fault now, it sends a page request to processor I. Then the handling proceeds like in the centralized system. If I am not the owner, it will forward the request to the processor indicating it. The problem. And this sequence, this process will be continued until the true owner of the particular page is being found. So that's all about the IV. Then the next we have is Mirage. So Mirage, it is developed at LA, and it is a curve which is modulated, and it extends the coherence protocol of IV system for controlling the thrashing. And when its shared memory page is transferred to the processor, then the processor will keep the page for delta seconds. If the request for the page is made before the seconds X. Then and delta is the combination of the real time and the service time for the process. Advantage is that it will have locality of reference and thrashing will be decreased. And the next case study is clouds. It is developed at Georgia Institute of Technology. So the virtual address space of all objects will be viewed as global distributed shared memory. So the objects are composed of segments which are mapped into virtual memory by the kernel using the memory management hardware. And here segment is nothing but the multiples of physical base size. And if we have some remote object invocations, then the DSM mechanism transfers the required segments on the request segment to the requesting host. On a segment fault, a location system object will be consulted to locate the object. So this location object will broadcast the query and the actual data transfer will be done by the DSM controller. Okay, that's what about the another case study for DSM, clouds, marriage, and IV we have seen. IV it is in detail. So the same thing we can consider for that also. Okay, what are the coherence protocols? Okay, the distribution schemes. Either it can be fixed distributor or dynamic distribution. So this and all you can take it for those also. So that's what about DSM. Do you have any doubts in this? If you have any doubts, please ask me. Or do you have any doubts in this? Whatever we have discussed till now. Okay. So we have seen DM, distributed memory. Then we have discussed about distributed shared memory. And we will see how we can be the programming model for distributed memory. Okay. So that is nothing but MPI. So message, it is MPI is nothing but a interface for message programming. Okay. So it is message passing programming paradigm, that is our MPI. So the only difference between sequential and message passing paradigm is that there will be a communication network, okay, which is connected to the parallel processor. So all those processors can be communicated via that network. And you can see that the memories are distributed. Okay, the memories are distributed here, and we have parallel processors which are being communicated over the network. So whenever the communication needs to be happening, it will be happening in form of the messages. So it is called as message passing program. Okay, we are trying to program the message passing over the distribution network, that is our MPI. Okay. So MPI, so we have a process here. Okay, just like in OpenMP, how we have, it will be a process. It is a program which performs the task on a processor. And each processor or process in a message passing program, it will run instance or copy of a program. And typically, single program operates on a multiple data sets, and the variables for each subprogram will be same name, and the locations can be different, and the data it is being operated can be different, and all the variables will be local to the process. And the communication will happen via special send and receive routines, okay, related to the message passing. And data and work distribution will happen, okay, based on the ranks. Okay, the rank is nothing but the processor ID. Okay, so the communication will happen based on the ranks, which is the processor ID, and distribution decision will be based on the rank. Okay, and that is based on the rank, we can identify which process is working on which data. Okay, so for each processor, we are assigning the ID 0, 1, 2. Okay, it is with size minus 1. So we can, it is nothing but we are trying to program single program on multiple data only, that is there. Okay, using MPI. So if we take the function here, it's a simple code. So if there is a process which is assigned the master role, so how we will assign? So it is based on the ranks or processor ID. If the processor is being ranked with this particular ID, so then it will perform the master routing, else it will be performing the worker routing. Okay, if it is master, then it will assign the work and it will coordinate workers and it will collect the results. If it is worker process, then it will interact with master and other workers and it will perform the work and it will send the result to the master. Okay. So why we have to choose MPI? So it is small because with only 6 basic functions we can do the code, and it is large. So MPI is extensive functionality from many functions. Using these 6 basic functions, we can have multiple functionalities, and this is scalable. Okay, we can have point to point communication here, and it is also flexible. No need to rewrite the parallel programs across the multiple platforms because the support will be there. And here message is nothing but the packets of data which is moving between the subprograms. So the necessary information for this message passing system is what is the sending process, what is the receiving process. So sending process and receiving process are nothing but the ranks. So that is IDs. And the source location, destination location. So this also we can get through the IDs. And what is the source data type and destination data type, whether it is integer data type or float data type, that we have to know. And what is the source data sets and destination buffer sets. So all these are required whenever we are programming via MPI. So access. So how we will get the access? The subprogram has to be connected to the message passing system. So the message passing system, it is similar to the phone line, mailbox, or any other fax machine. So MPI, in order to get the access, it must be linked with the MPI library, just like how we have linked with the OpenMP libraries there. So program must be started with MPI startup. So these are the 6 functions that we will be using for MPI. So these are 6 basic functions. First one is MPI initialization. So MPI underscore init. So it is to initialize MPI. Then MPI underscore finalize. It is for exiting the MPI library. Then MPI underscore communicator size. Here, these are the 2 parameters that we need to pass, the communicator and the size. So what it will do is that it will determine number of processes within the communicator. And then MPI communicator rank. So here we have to pass communicator and the rank. So it will give determine the process rank within the communicator. So here we are trying to get the process ID. Then the next function is send. So here we need to pass the parameters, the buffer, count, data type, destination, tag, and the communicator. So this is for sending the message MPI underscore send, but we need to pass all these parameters. Then the next one is MPI receive. So it is for receiving the message. and the same parameters we have to pass here, but here instead of destination, when we are sending, we need to send to the destination. So here destination parameter will be there, but in MPI receive, there will be the source parameter. Who is the source sending the message? And one more extra parameter, that is status. Okay, whether it has been received, whether it has been dropped, whether it has been failed. Okay, so this is the same thing. You can see all the parameters are same, and the destination and source are varied, and the status it is also extra parameter. And then coming to the communicator, what is the communicator here? Communicator is nothing but the identifier which is associated with a group of processes. And here I already told each process will have a unique rank. Okay, and it can be varied from 0 to n processes minus 1. And it is always required whenever we are initiating the communication by calling MPI function, that is MPI communicator role. So instead of using MPI communicator size, MPI communicator rank, we can directly use MPI communicator role because it will have all the processes. And several communicators, they can coexist. That is, a process, it can belong to different communicators at the same time. That is also fine. So this is the basic example, or the basic hello world code for MPI. So we need to include the header file, then start main function, then okay, hash include MPI MPI.h, then main function. Then I need the number of processors. Okay, for that I am taking an integer variable, and for reading the rank, that is processor ID is required. So this is the rank variable for that process ID. This is for the rank, and n processes, number of processes that are required. So these are the two variables. Then for initialization, MPI underscore initialize and these parameters, and MPI communicator size. Here I will call the function MPI communicator mode. Okay, and I will pass the number of processes here, and MPI communicator mode, and I will get the rank here by using ampersand rank. Then I can print hello world from process percentile D, which I am trying to print the rank, that is from each process I am trying to print hello world from processor. After running this program, I will get that hello world process from 1, 2, 3. If it is starting from 0, then it will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. So once the work is over, I have to finalize the MPI. That is, we can exit from MPI library, then return 0. Yes. So this is the basic hello world program. Anyway, you will be doing it in lab. Then point to point communication, I will start in the next class. If you have any doubts, you please tell me, ma. I will answer. Not only today's class, in the previous class also. Ma, all of you answer your attendance, ma. Neelkant,
Yes, ma'am.
Jignesh,
Present, ma'am.
Ayush,
Present, ma'am.
Ishwar Reddy,
Present, ma'am.
Abdullah Farhan,
Present, ma'am.
Dhavraj,
Present, ma'am.
Prithvipal Singh. Sorry. Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Nivas,
Present, ma'am.
Pat,
Present, ma'am.
Nidhesh,
Present, ma'am.
Anirudh,
Present, ma'am.
Sairam,
Present, ma'am.
Srinath,
Present, ma'am.
Saurabh,
Present, ma'am.
Sumesh,
Present, ma'am.
Sai Nitin,
Present, ma'am.
Satyajit Narayanan,
Present, ma'am.
Sai Raghavendra,
Present, ma'am.
Harika Sai, Vaibhav,
Present, ma'am.
Sanjay,
Present, ma'am.
Ninant,
Present, ma'am.
Abhishek,
Present, ma'am.
Jitendra,
Present, ma'am.
Uday Surya,
Present, ma'am.
Suveksha,
Present, ma'am.
Dakshina,
Present, ma'am.
Patel Jesser,
Present, ma'am.
Manav,
Present, ma'am.
Saranan, Srivar-
Present, ma'am. Srivardhan.
Rahul,
Present, ma'am.
Surya Sri Venkat,
Present, ma'am.
Sahil,
Present, ma'am.
Sangramjit,
Present, ma'am.
Vaibhav,
Present, ma'am.
Sai Britam,
Present, ma'am.
Ankan Roy,
Typed in the chat.
Ankan,
It typed in the chat.
okay, ma. Karthik,
Present, ma'am.
Meghna,
Present, ma'am.
Ishan,
Present, ma'am. I'm Ishan Chawla. Present.
Balaji,
Present, ma'am.
Mohit,
Present, ma'am.
Shyam,
Ma'am.
Anagha Sriram,
Present, ma'am.
Praneeth,
Present, ma'am.
Avinash,
Present, ma'am.
Akash,
Present, ma'am.
Remita Astrin,
Present, ma'am.
Meghna,
Present, ma'am.
Harish,
Present, ma'am.
Anupama,
Present, ma'am.
Balaji, Maharshi,
Present, ma'am.
Harish,
Present, ma'am.
Jayant, Deepak,
Present, ma'am. Present, ma'am.
Sai Varun,
Present, ma'am.
Monisha,
Present, ma'am.
Ashwani Prasad,
Present, ma'am.
absent is there. Harika Sai, then Saravanan Kishan,
Ma'am, Saravanan Kishan present, ma'am.
okay. Then Balaji, Jayant,
Balaji are present, ma'am.
Balaji present.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so two absent is no, I'm submitting that. Okay. All of you take care, ma. Stay safe. If you have any doubts, you please stay here. Otherwise, you can leave the session. Okay, we will meet in the next class.